going to be representing Swaraj University from India, I'm going to share my experiences in the university through three stories today, with the hope that within those stories lie the story of Swaraj University. I'll start with my own story. I was a fairly good student till 10th standard. Never used to study much, but used to pass with reasonably good marks. However, something happened in class 12th. I had got a new bike, changed school, and found the lessons increasingly boring. A new house was under construction, and I found that much more interesting. I simply stopped studying, and obviously, I failed. Like every other student who fails in class 12, I also thought that I had done something terrible. So I passed next year and joined an engineering college. There also, I found the classes very boring and would simply bunk them. But I was still not questioning the system much and just kept thinking that I was wrong and so would avoid making many friends and doing anything else as well. I just kept to myself and read things I liked. Thankfully, I failed again at the end of first year. In retrospect, I am thankful, but at that time, it was a real shocker. This failure really turned the world upside down for me. I could see how one has to submit oneself to those boring lectures where mostly people would just jot down what the professor was saying without questioning much. The relevance of learning anything was only till the next exams. After that, you could comfortably forget it. What it meant to your life or to anyone else's life didn't really matter. We were to go to physics lab and perform exact same steps as everyone and call it experiments, only to make a lab file exactly like everyone else. You get the idea, do you? So, after failing this time, all this fell into place. I realized that I can't be waiting to complete my formal education to do what I wanted to do. I decided that I needed to take control of my own learning. I made it a point to participate in every extracurricular activity that was taking place on the campus. Started an entrepreneurship cell, started organizing events like TEDx, and so on. We did a whole counterculture project and started a 3-credit course in the university which required students to collaborate across disciplines and batches and create multidisciplinary projects of their choice. Challenging the model of education within the system is so much fun. But there is a limit to which the system can take all that. I was not satisfied. Like many 22-year-olds, I was highly idealistic. I would like to mention that it was also the time of Anna Hazare movement, a sudden outburst of people's dissatisfaction from the system, which also influenced me. I was desperately searching for an alternative. I wanted to experience what a completely different vision of education could be. Luckily, I found Swaraj University in the same city where I was studying. In third year of my engineering, I finally took the plunge. It was not easy. I was apprehensive. But as dramatic as it could get, Manish Jain, aka Morpheus, one of the founders of Swaraj, asked me if I wanted to take the red pill or the blue pill. I knew it was an important decision. I decided to eat the red pill and never go back to the world as I had known it. Now I'm in Swaraj. If earlier pictures made you think how fancy a place like Swaraj must be, I'd like to clarify, this is how it looks like. It was a completely new experience. It was even more radical than I originally thought. What does one do when the whole construct in which education always was is taken away? There were no classes, no professors, no curriculum to follow, and most importantly, no one to challenge or prove anything, to which I realized to be a major motivator for me most of the times. It required a lot of unlearning. At Swaraj, a re-examination of every idea that I have been calling life till then was under scrutiny. It happened through sessions, discussions, dialogues, silent times, and just by living close to and in harmony with nature on the campus. It required me to understand myself better. Living close to the nature brought me closer to myself and I could see my needs more clearly. Instead of classes, there were community meetings and knowledge sharing sessions. Instead of professors, there were facilitators who would share their experiences and encourage us to take our own unique paths. As part of the program, we were to go for 3 days to the city and learn from what we call the local mentors. These mentors could be anyone from a roadside cobbler to a traditional sculptor, a painter, to someone who would make organic compost. I went and worked for 3 days with a compost maker, collecting cow dung on the farm and learning compost making from vermiculture. It raised questions on the hierarchy of work and value as we know it, and also turned my idea of a guru or a teacher upside down. As a community, we took learning journeys where we would meet activists, thinkers, academicians, innovators, visit industrial sites, and get to see how mass production, pollution, and corruption is hurting living ecosystems like rivers, forests, and air. It made me question my lifestyle and made me aware of its impact on people and environment, which I had previously no idea about. Whenever I wanted to learn something specific, I would go on these mentorships of 1 to 3 months to work with someone who is actually doing it. Books were secondary. I went to learn pottery, did a 10-day meditation course, worked with a startup which produced green paints, did a startup myself which failed, did a 10-day round roti project to feed the hungry, worked at an alternative school near Pune in India, and also worked at a call center for some time. My Swaraj experience consists of all these seemingly unrelated experiences. The second story is of Kamal or Kabir, as we like to call her. Kamal is originally from a small village in Punjab. As a child, she had few friends because she changed schools frequently. As her father is in the army and he used to get transferred frequently. She came across as a very shy and reserved girl. Swaraj was almost a culture shock for her. At Swaraj, the usual greeting when you meet anyone new is to hug. It was a completely alien thing for her. At Swaraj, we have community meeting every morning called morning meetings. In these meetings, everyone shares how the last day was and how are they feeling today. Basically sharing what's up. People would sometimes dance or sing or would usually just share what they were feeling. Kamal would often cry. Whenever she was supposed to speak in front of people, she would get overwhelmed. At Swaraj, crying is okay, just like laughing. Swaraj is a place to be vulnerable, so no one really gave it much thought. But later on, we came to know that once in her school, she was to read news in front of the whole assembly. She fumbled. Her teacher insulted her so badly that she could not find the courage to face the stage ever again. It was amazing how these small incidents become so much a part of her personality that it takes years to realize that we need to get over them. At Swaraj, Kamal was not judged for her weakness. Neither was she told to ignore the problem or push it under the carpet. Instead, she was encouraged to move out of her comfort zone. She would interact freely with all the facilitators. They would be like friends who she could share anything with. Her idea of authority was being challenged every minute. Slowly but surely, she was getting her confidence back. Besides understanding herself well, she started doing projects. She is very interested in social justice, sustainability, and living a simple life. Not only talking, she pursued the idea by vowing to not buy any new clothes for 1 full year. She decided to exchange whatever she would need from friends or relatives. She took up the project of making herbal cosmetics. Doing that, she understood the value of taking responsibility. After that, she started to learn stitching and started making bags from cloth considered waste by expensive designers in the city. She realized that when starting her own enterprise, she could not hold the image of being a good girl all the time. She realized that she will have to speak up and voice her concerns if she wants to do it well. What she was getting from Swaraj all the time was a huge network of people with a shared purpose, resources and expertise to guide her and encourage her, not as a student, but as a friend, and that made all the difference. I am very glad to say today that today the same Kamal he used to shy away from new people has mobilized the women from a village near Udaipur and has created this enterprise called Sadhvi, meaning simplicity, which produces these beautiful bags. In her journey with Swaraj, she has found that contrary to what she believed, she is a very strong person. Third story is about Nachiketa. Nachiketa is a spirited person who you will find laughing loudly or dancing. When I saw him at Swaraj first, he was teaching us some physical exercises. He was nervous and therefore he was trying to impose himself over the group. I was a bit taken aback. I thought something was wrong. But soon after, we had a deep sharing session. He was in my group. I came to know that he had lost his father when he was very young. He was very angry with the world because of that. But his problems didn't end there. There was tension in the family, and at school, he was labeled a special child. Having completely lost touch with himself, even among his friends, he was facing certain exploitation. To find his place, he would spend money or pretend to be someone who he was not. That was making things worse for him. At Swaraj, Nachiketa was not being judged by the labels he brought with him from the mainstream world. The Swaraj community was encouraged to create a space of love and gift for him. We noticed that he connected very well with animals. He could be himself. He would call stray dogs by names and they would respond. It had a healing effect on him. With some encouragement from Swaraj, he decided to join a small organization working for animals in distress in Udaipur. He loved it. He could easily express all his love and care for them. Nachiketa is not a person of obvious talents, but some of the processes at Swaraj helped reveal them. As a part of understanding the issue of sustainability, we did a visit to the local dump yard. While all of us were busy feeling tensed about what really happens to all the waste that we produce, including all these water bottles that are here on the table from which we drink water with so much swag, Nachiketa instantly connected with the rag-picking children. He connected with them so much that he actually worked with one of the rag-picking communities in the city. That is world as a classroom in practice for you. But that was just the starting. With time, Nachiketa started participating in theatre activities that used to happen on the campus. With the energy he brought to the group and the way he was able to channelize his anger in this art form took him all over the country. Nachiketa became a part of the theatre group called Swabhav for a play called Mr. India, in which he did 35 shows within a span of 6 months some of the remotest villages all over India on the issue of displacement and marginalization by Indian government. Nachiketa has not only been able to forge some of the deepest and trustworthy relationships and friendships in life, he also now has a sense of belonging, a sense of resourcefulness and completeness. All this and more weaves the story of Swaraj. As you can see, when students have a larger say in their own education, education is highly customized and it automatically fits the different needs and learning styles of individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviral, for that beautiful 3 stories. We're going to have more, and I'd like to invite Arjun, who's also associated with Swaraj University, to share some more stories. While he's fixing his PowerPoint, I'd like to let you know that there is an anti-PowerPoint political party in Switzerland that has quite a lot of members. It's interesting how new kinds of technologies can create new kinds of political movements, and they have quite interesting philosophy with regard to how PowerPoints have changed the manner we communicate. Maybe other countries may want to look at some of the issues that this PowerPoint, anti-PowerPoint political party uses. Yeah. One of the things always is the amount of time it takes to fix the